Five Nights at Freddy's is undoubtedly a generational game. Originally coming out in 2014, it was quick in gaining popularity due to all the popular YouTubers at the time, like Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, and Markiplier, making playthroughs of the game. While at first people just like seeing their favorite YouTuber get scared on camera.
Oh, the sounds, I don't like them. No!
If it was just a game filled with jump scares and nothing more, I don't think FNAF would be where it is today. Jump scares get old very quickly, especially when you know they're coming.
I mean, the thing is, like, everyone wants me to play this game to get scared, but after 4 games, I don't know what to tell you. You know there's just gonna be jump scares.
What really kept people interested in the game, including myself, was the story Scott Cawthon was trying to tell. As confusing as it was more than enough to keep people buying the next game and for a large community to form around it. Within this community, a variety of fan-made content was being produced almost every day, like fan games, simple YouTube videos, and my personal favorite aspect, the music. All this and more helped maintain FNAF's popularity while people waited for the next release. But unfortunately, like with any other community, there will be some members who end up becoming more of a real threat to children than any character in a story ever could be. Dormitabis is your standard FNAF fan game where you keep whatever entity trying to kill you at bay. What really put this game in the spotlight was its very questionable story.
Oh my god! This is most certainly beginning to be fun. There's this hot 15-year-old that was part of the kids' friends group. You know, it was fun. She screamed, but nobody heard her. It was so much fun.
And its unquestionably disgusting writer, Blackout 1912, who would be exposed for multiple things like grooming, blackmailing, necrophilia, and many other things. But we won't be talking about him today. Instead, we will be discussing a much less known creator who shares a similar fate to Blackout. Xyler Guy. He was in active development in the FNAF fan game Night Shift. In this game, you would roam around the wolf cave while hiding from animatronics like how you do in Security Breach. While moving around the area, you will be investigating something. We don't really know, as the game would be cancelled due to Xyler Guy being exposed before it could ever finish development. In 2023, Gen Pen would make a post on GameJolt exposing his interactions with Xyler while he was at least 16 years old. Xyler's exact age isn't known, but a friend of his that we will speak about later would confirm the two were older than 18. In the doc, Jen would explain that he began talking to Xyler Guy after responding to a message he sent in a Discord server the two were in. Xyler wanted to show Jen a meme, so he sent him a friend request. This meme that Xyler wanted to show Jen was a video that seemed normal at first until it started flashing random images, which included fetish drawings of minors, Nikocado Avocado's OnlyFans for some reason, and some cringe memes, according to Jen. This wasn't a one-time thing either, as Xyler would continue to send strange memes, some of which I think I have to censor a little bit more for YouTube, over the course of a few weeks, all the while knowing Jen is a minor due to his age being displayed in his bio. Eventually, Xyler would send COD points to Jen, which would be the breaking point, as after this, Jen would gather up all the evidence and make the post. Some other things of note is that Blue, Xyler's friend from earlier, who is also the co-director / main programmer of Night Shift, was also caught talking inappropriately with a minor. Besides possessing and distributing COD points, Xyler also didn't treat his team very well, as all 25 members were never paid for their work. Most concerningly as well is that some of his developers were minors themselves. As far as I could tell, Xyler Guy has not returned, and let's hope it stays that way. Analog horror. originating from films like No Through Road and Marble Hornets. Its popularity really grew in 2021 with series like The Mandela Catalog and The Walton Files. Around this boom in popularity came the FNAF VHS tapes, created by Squimpus McGrimpus, and I actually remember watching these videos when they first came out. What I didn't know was what the creator was doing while making these videos. March 17th, 2023, a burner account would make an exposed post about Squimpus. In this post, it has his own confession about his interactions with a 16-year-old while he was 20. When I was 17, I talked to Blue, who was 14, about kink stuff, as we both had an interest in it. This was grooming, and I'm not going to beat around the bush with it. I stopped about a week after I turned 18, and then relapsed a few times from about 2019 to 2020. I entertained the idea of if it's not sexual then it's okay in 2022, which I went back on soon after. I didn't realize how much hurt I was doing. Now that I do, all I can say is I'm willing to own up to my mistakes in any way that I can. Blue and I were both groomed beforehand. I can't speak for him, but I had a lot of logic they used on me stuck in my brain well after my own groomer was gone. Some of it is still there, but I'm not going to unlearn it without consequences for it. I won't blame anyone for being upset with me. Just know that I'm actively working to stop myself with these sorts of things. Since he literally explained to us what kind of conversations he was having with the minor, I don't think I need to read the messages between them. So we will move on to Squimpus' final response to everything. To the people who wanted me to make a statement, here it is. What's on burner account is true. The victim wants to stay anonymous, and I'll keep it that way. I want everyone to stop harassing them because I am the one who is in the wrong. Support them, no matter what. I want to improve. Truly improve. And I'm not going to use social media until I know I'm better, and that I'm a safe presence. This is a self-imposed restriction, and it might take months or even years before I'm back. Some anonymous people are helping me keep my word on this. I will say at least he's trying to get some help, as most people probably wouldn't even do that. Only time will tell if he ever gets back into the same community that once supported him. Out of everyone I talked about, there is no one more influential and recognizable within the FNAF community as Andy Stein, aka Mando Pony. No doubt, if you were to even have a passing interest in the FNAF community, then you would have heard of one, if not all of Mando Pony's songs. If you're never into FNAF, the best way to show you how popular these songs are is to give you the raw numbers. Survive the Night, which is Andy's most popular song, has 221 million views. Given how popular he is, and how he was a part of mine and many others' childhood, it's quite disappointing to be covering him on this channel, but it's important that more people know about his actions, since I only recently have learned about them. The most well-documented victim is K. Seraph. While they are 22 right now, their interactions with Andy were back in 2019 during their junior year of high school, making them 17, and Andy 21. What really makes this weird is that Andy had no reason to flirt with this minor, as he had been a married man since 2014. Their conversations would begin on Andy's public Instagram, or it would eventually move on to Andy's private Snapchat. We know it's Andy's Snapchat because after sending a nude photo to Kay, he sent over some pictures of himself with a horse, which were never posted online. Now there are a lot of conversations between Kay and Andy, so I will only read a couple. Andy says, "Are you alone? Haha XD. Just a quick pic, XD. Keep it a secret, haha. Obviously, don't really want anyone knowing I send you stuff like that. I'm really hoping maybe I'll get to see you alone when you visit, kissy face. You need Vex. I'd love to make you feel amazing. I'll see what we can do, but we gotta be super discreet." This next conversation is interesting, not because of what they were talking about, but for what the caption on the photo reads, which says, "Oh yeah, I had to cut a lot of ducking COD points from these a few times." All these messages show that Andy wanted to cheat on his wife with the 17/18-year-old, and that potentially some more illegal content was sent his way. Once Kay came out about her interactions with Andy, he would try to turn people against Kay, and even give out her home address to other people, which he obtained by lying to Kay about sending a gift. But this would not be the only victim. July 14th, 2020. The Exposing Andy Stein Twitter account would come out about another alleged victim, this one being 15 years old. But unlike with Kay, we can't really prove that it was Andy speaking with this minor. Even after I reached out to the account, this is all the information they could give me. Alright, this one is much harder to prove, and that's coming from me. the 15-year-old victim was pressured to delete most of the screenshots by Andy before the allegations came out, so the few that we actually have posted are rare. I can say with certainty the account belongs to Andy, despite the fact that it's much harder to actually prove it. I hate telling people that, but it's the truth. Now that we have that in mind, let's move on to the second victim's story. So this all started in August of last year. I wished him happy birthday, and he said thank you. In January this year, I felt really alone because I had a falling out with a friend, and I went to him because I felt I could. He didn't respond to me until the start of our lockdown period here in the UK. He apologized for not getting back to me straight away, and then we started talking. About a week into us talking, he began sending me nudes of his behind as he was standing in the mirror. He then began showing me his lewd art and proceeded to tell me he has a furry fetish. This was a little while later, but if you're drawing naked animals, go figure. He kept telling me he never asked for anything in return, like nudes and stuff, because he was respectful that I had a partner at the time, and that I was way too young. He kept sending me ass pics and stuff, and his lewd art. I eventually told him to stop sending it to me because I felt really uncomfortable, and you know, it's not really my thing. But that's not all he would send. He would send me compliments, telling me how mature I was for my age, classic groomer line right there, how gorgeous and attractive he thought I was, how I was the perfect woman. At first, I liked the attention, but then I realized this was so wrong. I shared my writing with him, my sketches of a D&D character I created. I even shared some pictures of myself, not nude, just clothed photos he could use for references. After sharing my writing with him, he told me I got him excited and that it turned him on. He said that because of how much of my art I shared with him, he wanted to repay my kindness. So I foolishly let him buy me Monster Prom. This is all on the side account he made because he claimed that his main was getting hacked into and made me delete the convo. Even some convos on the side I was made to delete. After everything, because I had a girlfriend, he has a wife, I told him to keep it friendly and that I know it was wrong. He even admitted to me that he was flirting with me, but I'm so attractive, I can't stop myself. He told me once he masturbated over some stupid shit I can't remember. He also invited me to the tour they were planning on doing when they were coming to Europe, and said we might accidentally make out a bit, with JK unless. After I told him to stop flirting with me, we stopped talking full stop, so that's everything. We do have the actual messages and drawings that the victim was referring to her story. You're this gorgeous? And you're in Ravenclaw? And you're into Overwatch? They said the perfect woman doesn't exist. They lied. I didn't want to be the creeper older guy, but you are so beautiful and your body is gorgeous. Only let men and women touch it if they treat it like a goddamn sacred temple. And worst of all, I hope by either me or your girlfriend or some other reason you have your first bang sometime soon. This all helps in proving her story is legit, but of course the main thing we need is undeniable proof that it was Andy speaking to this 15-year-old. I tried to see if the drawings Andy supposedly made looked at all similar to the drawings he had made in the past, but I couldn't really find anything similar between them besides the fact that they look cartoony and that this person kinda looks like Andy. After the exposed post was made, Andy would be kicked out of Give Heart Records, which is Nate Wants to Battle record label, and many other artists would stop associating with him. Eventually, he would make a response on March 9th, 2020, when claims that I had a criminal relationship with some of my fans were first made last year. They were thoroughly investigated by the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force in coordination with the LAPD. They did so for many months and independently concluded that no crimes had ever taken place, no molestation, no pedophilia, no sexual relations with any minor whatsoever. Even though some are cynically using these false allegations to promote themselves, spread lies, and garner attention for commercial gain, that doesn't make them any more true today than they were in the past. Again, no credible evidence was found that the persons bringing these allegations against me have been abused or maltreated in any way. I do now understand, however, that some of my fan interactions may have been insensitive or too personal, and that some of my comments made others feel in ways I never intended. I am ashamed and extremely regretful to have put my family and those I love in a position to question my integrity. I do not deny I failed my wife, my family, my friends, and my supporters, but I am not a criminal. No one wants to discourage abuse victims from speaking out, but one must bear in mind that sometimes there are people who are falsely accused and that this is also a terribly destructive thing. I look forward to moving on and making things right. with the love of my life for all the pain caused by her having to live through these baseless accusations. Given the toxic atmosphere online, I will be continuing my hiatus from social media for the foreseeable future. Any harassment, stalking, or abuse directed towards me or my family will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. To those who have continued to support me and my music throughout this difficult time, I am extremely grateful. Please continue to act with dignity, tact, and nuance. A second police investigation would take place a year later on August 22, 2022, where the same conclusion was made that Andy was innocent, which sounds really good, but the reality is that only 1% of online predators are ever caught, and much worse people than Andy have walked free as well. After listening to both sides, I have one question for you. Do you think Andy is innocent? While researching this topic, I noticed the comments were split evenly on every website, so I wonder if it will be the same here. Personally speaking, I do believe that he messaged Kay, as he literally sent a picture of himself that no one had ever seen before, and that he was trying to cheat on his wife with Kay, which isn't illegal but immoral. It's also really weird that he picked a 17-year-old to do it with. Like, come on man, what did you expect to happen when you tell a 17-year-old, "Thank you for keeping all this private. It's probably wrong for me to be attracted to you, but I can't help it." Now, the second victim I have a harder time believing, just because it's Andy's unknown alt account. And I know a lot of stuff was deleted according to the victim, which is a common thing predators ask their victim to do. But when it comes to serious claims like these, you need undeniable proof. I will say, both victims said Andy took pictures of his buttocks and sent it to them, and both accounts talk very similar, using a lot of emojis and uppercase letters. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was an alt account of Andy's. The FNAF community has been around for almost 10 years, and it's good to see that I had a hard time finding people to speak about. For a game where kids are murdered and stuffed into suits, the fans do a good job in keeping actual children safe. If you enjoyed the video, consider becoming a member to have your name shown in the intro while fueling my gambling addiction. I'll see you next time. Peace out.